This video ended up being pretty long, so I've got links down in the description for timestamps for when we talk about different mods. There's also links to the products we talk about, and if you purchase through those links, it helps support my channel, which is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
I'm Dan. This is Matt. We just finished the Washington Backcountry Discovery route in just under 25 hours. We were trying to do it in under 24. And in this video, we're going to have a conversation about the modifications that we did to our WR250s and just kind of why we did them, how they worked out. So let's get into it.
I think the single thing, the most important thing, hands down, was covering them in WABDR 2018 stickers.
Definitely.
That we made.
Definitely number one on the list.
Yeah, definitely. We couldn't have done the ride without those. That's for sure. When it comes to things that are, maybe actually a little bit more important for me, I think it's tied between two of them. One being the skid plates. Mine, I don't know if I would say abused more than yours, but I'd say there's a good chance.
I was getting pretty good use out of mine too. Mm-hmm. Definitely, over 100 times where we'd be like, skid plate just paid for itself again. Skid plate just paid for itself again. Yeah. Just kicking rocks up and just bashing. Yeah, there's a lot of good things out there to test your skid plate on.
Yeah. And the second one for this ride in particular, any longer rides, is replacing the stock 2-gallon tank with the IMS 3-gallon tank. They make a bigger 4.7 gallon. But it's a much more complicated install, and you also lose the radiator shrouds, which for me just kind of turn into padding when I
you definitely
crash.
Made good use of these.
Mm-hmm.
The 3-gallon is nice. Stock is 2, and it brings the range from like 110 up to more like 160, maybe 170. I think we got close to 180 that one day, but. Mm-hmm. Then I didn't the next time I tried to do that. But we did the 2-gallon rotopax on the back and the 3-gallon.
Correct.
And if we didn't need to do that, it turns out. It was nice to have the backup.
Well, actually, the way we did it, so we kind of skipped a couple of the planned gas stops.
Yeah.
And having done that, you did run out of gas.
Right. Ran out in the 3-gallon tank and then had to pull the rotopax off.
So not having
fill up.
I think we could have easily gotten away with just one of us having the 2-gallon rotopax if you really want to be weight conscious about it, and then you could have gotten a little bit bigger bag and kind of evened the two out.
Yeah. Or we could have left the stock tanks on and carried the rotopax and then had we would have had to pull off the trail and top off with the rotopax, which would have taken time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy having the 3-gallon tank now. It feels like a big difference on the bike in terms of range, and then the rotopax is nice to have. But you don't need both for the ride.
No, especially if you're doing it in more than one day.
Yeah.
And stopping at all the planned stops.
Yeah.
Lighting was, I think, the other huge upgrade over stock that we worked on. For me, the light bar was quite nice, but given kind of one of the accidents, that became a little bit less practical for me. So I was incredibly happy that I'd swapped out the stock headlight bulb for who was it from?
Was it
Cyclops?
Okay.
No, from Cyclops down in Renton, Kent area, just south of Seattle. And that thing is an incredible improvement over stock. Let's see what the rear racks were great to have.
Yep. They're both from Skaggs Moto. There's a small one and a big one. I've got the big one, you've got the small one.
Well, you also normally have a top box because you're using that WR as a little bit of a commuting bike as well.
Yeah, the big one has the option to install a GV monokey mount system on it, and so I use that for my big top box on the back. You don't have that need, so both of them will fit the rotopax style mount. So that's how we got the rotopax on the back. And that worked out really well.
Yeah.
Rock straps.
I feel like the rock straps were a very pleasant surprise that neither of us were thinking would be as convenient as they were. Would highly recommend the rock straps.
Yeah. I hadn't heard of them.
No.
And I don't know, I was just Googling around and found them and went, this seems like it might work really well, because we kind of did some bungee cord stuff and some
compression
strap stuff, and it was like kind of working. But those rock straps, if you haven't seen rock straps, it's that like, what do you call it? Just like a compression strap, like a sleeping bag compression strap or whatever.
Combined with a bungee.
Yeah, combined with a piece of elastic, so you can cinch it down, and it'll stretch out as you cinch it down. It's incredible the difference it makes.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Tires, probably the other big one.
Yeah. It's hard for me because it's hard for me to tell how much is the tires and how much of it is just like the confidence the tires gave me.
Well, and we should be honest, at start to finish, we were probably a little bit better.
Oh yeah, I mean we're not great dirt riders, and we're pretty new, so
no, absolutely not.
So just being out there riding for this amount of time, like, we got noticeably better. I do think the tires made a big difference. Definitely. And with braking power too.
Yeah, just how much traction you really had before you. I mean, I think for me more than you, before I would start to lose the front end.
Yeah, I was pretty scared to touch the front before, and I got more comfortable with getting on the front in gravel, and it made the difference because I could pick up the speed a little bit and know that if someone came around that corner, that I could get on the brakes hard.
Yeah. Let's see, what else did we do? I think got that light bar's messed up.
Yeah, this is the remnants of the crash. Held on there with bungee cord. It's lovely.
Yeah.
So other modifications. Navigation was huge.
Oh, I totally forgot about it.
I mean, if you're...
What app were we using?
Whether you're doing it in 4 days or 24 hours or whatever, I think you want... I mean, I would want to have a digital navigation thing in front of me, not having to be stopping and pulling out a map. So I'll include this in like the video description, but the app is called maps.me, and then you can download the GPX file off of the WABDR website and convert it to KML and import it in there. And you go, it's not too bad, but it's a few steps. And once you get in there, I mean, maps.me is free. You load it up and zoom in, and it just shows the route as a line, follows you along. So that was another lessons learned.
We were both running it on our phones. That we just had the what are those mounts called? The RAM mounts. And I would probably recommend using a dedicated GPS unit.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought our system worked out fine.
I replaced my phone.
You replaced your phone?
Yeah. The ride killed my phone. You didn't know that?
The ride didn't kill my phone.
The ride killed my phone. I didn't tell you that?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the ride killed the camera on my phone.
Did you tape it up?
Yeah. No, it wasn't like impact, like it I think just 600 miles of vibration rattled something. Like, my phone worked perfectly except it didn't have a camera anymore.
Okay. So mine still works fine. Don't buy whatever kind of crappy phone Matt had, which I think might have been the exact same phone that I have. Google Pixel?
Google Pixel 2, yeah.
The Pixel 1 must be significantly better then.
That must have done it.
Okay. Yeah, GPS unit might be cheaper than a cell phone, so.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. So I think high points for me was not having weight on our back. So ditching the camelbacks and using the tail bags that we just tied to the back with the rock straps. That was huge.
That was way up there.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly wouldn't have wanted to do it with the stock fuel tank. I think it would have technically been
We definitely could have done it,
possible
but it would have taken a lot more time to swap, and we would have used both the rotopax.
If we didn't have the rotopax, it would have been really close.
Mm-hmm. Well, we would have had to use all the fuel stops because we didn't stop for gas in Kashmir.
Yeah. Lessons learned.
Even though in your head it's hot during the day in the summer, out throughout the course, it was really it was kind of essential to have just a lightweight shell just to keep the wind off you during the night riding.
It was. So basically what we ended up with was dress like you're going to be out riding a dirt bike in like 80-degree weather, and then bring stuff to block the wind to put on top of it, and that'll solve it for you without having to bring a ton of clothing.
Gloves as well, not just a jacket. Warm gloves as opposed to just... We basically each had 2 sets of gloves. We had a lightweight pair that we both use when we were riding single track, and then a heavier pair that are a little bit insulated and windproof at the very least. Yeah.
Yep. Anything you can do to change up the hands too.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Getting out and practicing on the course made a huge difference for us. There's a few modifications that we missed. One of them, a big one, is the seat.
Yeah, stock seat's terrible. Again, it'll depend on your bike.
WR250R is what we're riding. And the stock seat is like a 2x4. But it's like a 2x4 like this that goes right up here.
Yeah, not super comfortable. I replaced mine actually a while ago.
Yeah.
With a tall seat from Seat Concepts. I'm a little bit taller than you are, and having the extra inch of height along with a set of bar risers made a big difference for just the long-term comfort for me.
Yeah, I was trying to put it off because I didn't want to pay $300 for a seat, but I think it's nice to have.
For me, it's worth it, absolutely.
I can deal with like the seat on my FZ09, but the
seat on your FZ09 is terrible.
The WRC was really bad.
Yeah.
So I installed USB charging ports to keep our phones charged, using them for navigation, and also I was running my GPS watch to track our ride, which is dead apparently.
You can't keep electronics going today to save your life.
Well, it had charge. I don't know what's happening. So I thought that worked out fairly well. Unfortunately, so the one that I got is, let me look here. It's a Burns Moto dual port weatherproof charger is what they call it.
And it's the same one you had on your FZ for years.
It looks identical. It seems like we're getting a little bit of power. What do you call it?
You can do it.
Vampiring. Drain. Let's just go with power drain. Because your bike is like completely dead right now.
Yeah, and it's got a brand new battery in it, and it's been sitting for 3 weeks.
Yeah, and mine was a little hard to start the other day. So I don't know what the deal is with that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the only thing that's not stock. That's the light bars we leave unplugged. So electrical gremlins.
Yeah. But if you have a like standalone GPS unit, you're probably also going to want to plug that in, because if you're riding if you're trying to do 24 hours, riding for 24 hours, stuff isn't going to last that long.
Unless you feel like buying 3 GPS units and swapping those out. Might not be economical.
Maybe not. I mean, if you don't have a set of
If you don't have a set of handguards, don't do the ride. Just don't. Just don't do it.
I mean, I used them on the trees and crap that we were riding through, and when I dropped my bike. Pretty good to have handguards so that your levers don't get all screwed up.
Yeah.
I'll show in detail, but the plane that's going by is kind of loud. The handguards that we put on these, they're like Cycra or Circa or whatever. The mounting system I really dislike. It's not very stable. And I replaced my handlebars to give me a little more height and to go with a style that was just the bar, not the connector bar. Because it makes it easier to mount stuff. And when I did that, so I got the fatter bar, I changed the mount style, and it's called, let me look at what it's called. They call it a Cycra U-clamp, maybe? Cycra Pro Taper Universal Solid Mount Kit. No, this is definitely coming out in editing. I think it's the Cycra U clamps for 1 1/8 inch handlebars. Those are so much more solid than.
Yeah, I'm constantly taking the ones that are mounted to my stock 7/8 bars and just beating the hell out of them with a rock to put them back into place.
The ones that you have done more damage than good in some previous crashes. There was one point at which you crashed and it knocked your brake line loose and filled the line with air, and you just didn't have a front brake for the rest of the ride.
That sucked.
Yeah, then you tried to drive your bike up a cliff.
Because I didn't have the brake.
Sure, yeah. What do you say?
I didn't try to put the bike off a cliff. I was reasonably successful.
I think we've covered the mods.
Yeah.
We put these little really... it's not that they're thin, it's that they're like lightweight. They're
I think they're intended for mud riding.
They are. They're called mud grips, and I thought they made a bit of a difference for me. It was kind of a last minute, let's get these, and they're cheap, and we can order them and get them here fast. If I was going to do it again, I'd try something a little like denser, like grip puppies or something. But I know it was pretty brutal on my hands, just being with the thin like rubber grips on the stock bike. Let's summarize gear. Mods. So
things for any bike would be skid plate and engine protection. Engine protection wasn't necessary for these because it's just one cylinder. But if you've got a twin, or if you're riding one of the Triumphs with a triple, or even a 4-cylinder, you definitely want to protect the engine, because odds are you're going to tip it over or crash at least once throughout the route. And
some skid plates are not as equal as others. This one does have the kind of wraparound protection that does protect the engine a little bit. But if you got something wider, you're going to want those crash bars on the outside. And then protect your levers when you tip over, so it doesn't become a bigger issue.
Yep. Depending on the bike you're riding, the gas tank may or may not be necessary. The 2 gallons on these are just about as small a tanks as you can get on a street legal bike. If you're doing it on a bigger bike, the GS or anything like KTM, it might not be a big deal. Would probably recommend the rotopax, just in case you kind of get stuck out in the middle of nowhere. And then again, for the WRs, the seat was a big one.
Yeah, if you're gonna be sitting on that seat for a long time, so we might have had like medical issues if we tried to do 24 hours on the stock WR seat.
And then specific for the way that we did it in 24 hours, the lighting, the light bars.
You got to do something with the lights.
Even if it's just the smaller lights you can clamp on, but you need more than the stock light output.
Yep. And having a backup lighting system is good.
Yeah. I think that's.
And if you're going to be strapping something to your bike, rock straps are awesome.
Is that how they're pronounced? They've got to be rock.
It's R-O-K. I don't know. Rock straps send us money.
Or just more rock straps, because we broke some of them.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, lesson learned for the rock straps, don't let the strap bit touch your hot exhaust. Then you lose your rock straps.
Well, you ended up wrapping one around your axle.
Yeah, after it had burned through off the exhaust.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 'Cause I think when you were pulling the bags off, you unclip it,
Yeah.
and then it fell off and it was resting on the exhaust, so it burned part of the way through, and then tightened it down, and then it snapped.
Yeah. Okay.
Or it crashed and broke it. I don't know.
Okay, thanks for watching our overview of the modifications that we did on the WR250Rs for 24 hours of WABDR. Our mods were a little more specific to attempting to try to do the ride in under 24 hours, but I hope you found it interesting, and let me know if you have any questions in those comments. Don't smash your light bar like Matt. I had nothing to do with it.
You didn't cause the crash.
No.
No.
Nope.